All right. Many of you have seen this before. This is my toolkit for the Astro van. I keep a few things easily accessible, like this is the key for my wheels, and then there's a few sockets here in this outside pocket that help facilitate that. This one here, right, this is for a scissor jack that I keep in the bumper, and I also have an impact driver, heavy duty impact driver, and a cordless, both are cordless 18 volt Makitas. The other one is a grinder, so I can put a cutoff wheel on that and that sort of thing. But I could put this into the impact driver and I could drive up the scissor lift real quick if I want to. And then again, these two sockets here, and I could, it's a 1/2 inch drive, I believe it's a 1/2 inch drive. Maybe that's a 3/4, I don't know. Whatever the drive is on the impact driver. This fits right on there, and this gets my wheels on and off very quick too. That was, it's funny, I was always aware of it, but a subscriber mentioned to me, he's like, hey man, you should just do that. Well, we'll find out right here. This is, I don't know. Anyhow. So I keep these easily accessible in this one outside pocket, so I don't have to go through the whole bag here. But right now I'm going to open the bag. I'm not going to give you guys a full, I've done a video on this already, but just a couple tips maybe. So I was just thinking about it. So I found this in one of the other pockets, so I'll keep that out for the moment. So I've got a, this is, again, it's a Harbor Freight bag. It's a Harbor Freight tool roll, pretty heavy duty. So I keep a lot of my open end wrenches, speed wrenches, different ratchets. It's a pared down kit that's specific to the Astro van, so I'm not carrying a complete set around. I'm going to use this later today if I get that mirror in from the mechanic to pop the corner plastic off on the door so I can access that. And in here I got everything else, including, and there's always a battery or extra batteries in the van too. This makes removing bolts very easy and fast. Like if you're sitting there under a van in a tight spot, as we have a helicopter coming, and you're trying to remove a nut from a bolt, but that bolt's really long, you're just under there forever. You put an extension and a swivel on this sucker and zip, comes right off. That's a huge time saver. I'm not kidding. I mean, there's jobs where if you were to calculate your time sitting there just removing a nut, by the end of the job, it could be an hour of time just removing fasteners. So this is huge. This will also sync them up, but that's, I don't think you'll get a torque out of this. You know what I mean? You still want to come in by hand or use a torque wrench if it's required, but this is a huge time saver. Got a bunch of extra parts in here, extra fasteners. I've got some specialty stuff in here, nuts, Allen key for the roof rack system, swivel short extensions. There's a gapper for spark plugs in here, some cotter pins I can see in here, all kinds of stuff. These Taliente containers are really, really helpful. I've got a bunch of electrical tape in here. I've got a whole 1/4 inch drive set up in here with sockets and whatnot that are pertinent to the Astro van. I also have that micro kit that I use all the time, so I don't have to go into this. Oh, I bought a set of this for the bag. I have another set for my garage tool kit. Haven't even taken this out of the package. These are swivel sockets. Each one of these is an independent socket with a swivel built into it. There's just certain spots on the van, like where this really comes in handy is trying to get the transmission mount out at where it mounts there on that crossbar underneath the transmission. The only way you can get to those bolts is with a set of these, one of these. So that's important. I got a piece of pipe in here. Dave gave me this. This is great leverage. You know, you're on trying to break something free with your ratchet, and you just need that extra little bit of leverage. Boom. Little as well, as you can imagine. A hammer, you need a hammer, but I found that this little one usually does what I need it to do. If I need to wax something. Again, there's a bunch of extra stuff in here. I'll show you the inside of this real quick. I don't want to go taking everything out. What I'm looking for right now are some extensions and swivels Oh good, I got another one of these. I'm going to keep this out for easy access for later. Again, this is a pry tool for popping panels and such off the van. You know, big ass crescent wrench, can't go wrong with that. And here's what I'm looking for right now are these extensions. It's going to help me get to the what I got to get to down there. And I think I'm going to need some long, deep sockets as well. So I'm going to go underneath the van next and see if I can fit these, and then maybe I'll shoot some footage of me under the van, tightening those bolts for that exhaust system that rattles at idle. I use this here when I'm doing brakes. I hang the caliper with this heavy duty wire. Just a lot of good stuff in here, you know, zip ties, some scissors, some different silicones, you know, just all the stuff that you would need to do actually, this is more than just, this is a pretty extensive kit really when you think about it, what I have in there. And I have a torque wrench in the van and all kinds of stuff, a compressor. I mean, I could literally swap out my CV axles on the trail if I needed to. That's where my head is at. And I bought the impact driver stuff because I have an impact driver. So when you're off-road, the stuff that can wear out or break, and you know, you should carry some extra parts with you, typically would be suspension related, and you need kind of heavy duty stuff to do that. That's why the impact driver comes in so handy with it. So there's a lot of people that talk about the kits and they say don't bring a bunch of tools if you don't have the competency to do the job, and I agree with that 100%. You know, a lot of people will get into this gear mindset of I gotta have this, I gotta have that, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, and they buy all this stuff and it's beyond their capability of even using. I've been doing this a long time, so I have what I need to do pretty much anything. I mean, I'm not doing an engine swap on a trail, you know what I'm saying? But let me get out of the van. Alright, so I'm not going to be able to like show you what I'm getting into here while I'm doing it because there's just no way to do it. So I'll just talk to you while I'm doing it. And I mentioned swivels and whatnot and extensions. I got a whole bunch of them. And this one here actually has a pivot. This is a pivot. I might as well show that to you. Shaped like that. That allows the socket to move a little bit on the end. And that's very, very helpful. But a real swivel is also very helpful because I'm in a very tight spot here where there's no other way to get to it, looks like. So it's a 15 millimeter socket, and you kind of need a deep socket, unfortunately. Of course, I might even need to use an open end wrench here, or a speed wrench possibly. So that's the hard part of this sort of stuff. It always is, man. It's just finding the little tool that allows you to get the job done. Oh, look at that. That's going to let me feed between the two pipes right here, so that's helpful. I don't know if you guys can see that. I've got the phone turned around so I can see myself, which I don't like doing, but it's the only way for me to see what's kind of in frame here while I'm BSing with you. And there's just no way to give you a good view of this, I don't think. So bear with me. Of course, this makes everything take longer than it needs to. It's one of those things about being a, you know, in quotes, content creator. It's the extra amount of time. And there goes that down the driveway. Oh boy. This is the hard part. It's just so crazy. See if we can get this in. No, that's not going to work. Gee whiz. So, let's see if we can get this one in. This is the thing about like people don't give mechanics enough credit, you know. I'm not that guy. I know what they go through. A lot of what I like to call blue-collar yoga, right? That's all the contortioning you got to do while you're underneath the vehicle to, there we go. Now, the first bolt was very loose. This one here is also loose. I did put this exhaust system on myself, but it was like a year ago. I don't know. And, you know, heat and contraction and everything else, these things can loosen up, and that is normal. So, guaranteed this is going to take care of the problem. Not the first one I did, but it is. So this one here is the next one. There are 3 of these to tighten on each side. And so, ladies, you know, if you're looking for the right thing, like you're looking for something to buy the husband, a set of swivels. That's this part here, this chrome one. I don't have an impact driver swivel. I don't think it's probably smart to try to use an impact driver with a swivel. I wouldn't use an impact driver on this particular job because I mean, if you snap one of these, you're screwed. Up in here. Oh my God. I can't get this socket on there. Ooh, damn it. Damn it to hell. This is my Charlton Heston impersonation. Okay, let's try to get through here. You can see what a nightmare this is, but there we go. Okay. All right, it's loose. That's about as tight I'm going to be able to get that one. That is very difficult to get to. I'm going to get it through here. Now you need another long extension, which I lost. Rolled down the driveway. Okay. But you see, I just wanted to just kind of show you guys like the stuff that it's a relatively simple job, right? Tightening 6 nuts. This one has a lock built into it, so it's a little bit more complicated, of course. Why are you not going in there? I don't know. Let's see if we can just get this to turn. Okay, that's tight. All right, let's move on to the other side. So I'm pretty certain now that the rattle I heard is pretty obvious. It's just that these bolts were not torqued down. They just basically loosened up over the course of time. Now this side's a lot easier. This should all be a straight shot here. I don't have the socket anymore. The socket must still be on the bolt over here. And it is. And for some strange reason, it doesn't want to come off, which is bizarre. We are in bizarro world, and that is because there is sensor here. There we go. So there's an oxygen sensor that this got locked up against. I hope I didn't damage that. Appears to be okay. We'll find out. Wires are still connected, but that would be a bummer because those are all new. This new pipe, when I put it in, there are videos on it, I believe. I'll have to look it up on my channel. But I bought this. This was the whole Y pipe assembly with, can't put a socket on here. See, that won't work, 'cause that's the handle. What is this here called? The Y pipe assembly with the catalytic converters. When I replaced everything, when I was going through that trouble of, you know what, guys, I got to tell you, I'm seeing a leak still from the front seal. So I guess we're gonna, well, look how loose this is. That's a lot. Damn it, I just caught my knee on something and that hurt. Oh, that's the knee that gives me trouble too. All right. So somebody was giving me a hard time about the cover. You know, the cover's okay. It's a Dorman cover. It's all about the seal. It's all about getting the seal in and caulking that correctly. And, oh, that's interesting. Okay, maybe it's not leaking. I'm going to wipe that down. We'll give you guys an eyeball. There's no oil hanging on the... Well, I guess maybe there is. We'll get in here with the camera in a moment and see what's... It's not a leak. It's just a slight little weep. I also think, and it's something I didn't look at, this is on me, but that harmonic balancer, I need another extension here, where it goes into the seal, I don't know, I think it's just, they paint it, and it might not be perfectly smooth, and that's spinning in the seal. And in my mind, I think, like, I would take, like, an emery cloth to that and go around it to remove any paint that's on it and kind of, and then polish it so it's a nice smooth metal. And then I would slide it in there with the grease. And to me, that makes sense, because if there's anything rough there and that's going to turn around inside that seal, well, now you're basically wrecking it, right? Doesn't that make sense? Now, I'm a pretty strong guy, and I can tell you that when I tightened these up, when I installed it, I got them tight. So the fact that they came loose again tells me that this must be a relatively normal thing to happen. We need a swivel. Let's get to this next one here. Yeah, there might get loud here in a minute because the gardeners are here. They're probably gonna blow dust in my face any minute here. Because they just want to get their job done. Oh yeah, let's try to. See if we can. Now, when you're pushing towards your own face like that, you better be careful, because if something slips, bam, you lose a tooth that way. I've seen people do it. All right. All right. So those 6 bolts are tight. We should no longer have a rattle. Let me show you guys something here. So it's a little wet right up in here. It hasn't come all the way down here, but definitely getting a little bit of weeping on the oil again. So I don't know. I might just have to be something that I live with, which doesn't make me happy. But it's, you don't lose oil from this. It's not like you check your dipstick and you know, there's a bunch of oil missing from inside your engine. But I would prefer to have this dry. You know what I'm saying? So I'll mention it to him. We'll see. We'll see. This might be a future thing for me. We'll end up doing a bunch of research and somebody says, because he said he got the AC Delco seal for that. I know these guys, they back up their work and everything. So maybe there's another aftermarket one that people have used that is better for some reason. I don't know. I also don't know if you can see me. So, all right, let me get out from underneath here and close this out for you. There's where the bolts are that I just tightened up. You can see all of them on this one, and then over here. And the nice thing about the lift is with a piece of cardboard, you can get underneath here real easy. So you can see one through there. There's all three of them. So you can see that what a kind of a cluster this is here. You understand what I'm saying there. Let's try to do this without swearing. Okay. So you can see how I had to get up in through here. Everything else is dry under here. It's very nice. I mean, obviously I'm kind of babying this. I'm trying to make it as new as possible, this van. New control arm bushings were put in. All kinds of stuff here. So very pleased with it. One of the things we're thinking about, I haven't talked to Dave in a while actually, is once you get your lift, your body lift, your engine lift, transmission, you know, this cross member doesn't need to be this low anymore. There's not much you could do with it. Dave was thinking about, he was wondering if the math works where you can flip this upside down. Maybe channel out here on the other side and then, you know, put your torsion keys back in. But then he's got this other idea, which is really interesting, in my opinion, which is a different type of suspension. And it's like a strut. It's, maybe I'm using the wrong term, but if you look at the guys that do the Baja 1000 runs and you look at their suspension, it's just like it just looks like a strut. That's all they have. Sometimes they have multiples, and so they don't have springs. They don't have like a coil spring. They don't have leaf springs. The struts do all the suspension work, and they built a Mountaineer and put a V8 in it, and that's what they're using on the front end. It's just these heavy-duty struts. They're expensive. I think they're like $2,000, maybe $2,000 a piece. But if that system could work on the Astro van, I mean, this is a lot of modification, right? Changing the brackets around and everything. If you could get that to work with the Astro van, then you wouldn't have shocks. You just have these struts in place, and then you can lose the torsion key front suspension. So if that happens, then we don't need this cross member to hold the torsion bars in, which means you can go with a different piece of steel, maybe a box tube steel to support the transmission, and then you can get more clearance here. Because this is you could call it low-hanging fruit, but it's a low-hanging, you know, hard piece of steel. There's not much, not much risk of damaging that if you hit it with something. Just depends. But we've got a lot of clearance here. You guys can see this. So anyhow, I think I took care of what I needed to take care of. Let me put all the stuff away and get back to the box, which I was just doing some work on. And that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you all in the next one.